Where are you going? Brady was unbuckling his seatbelt. Obviously, the guy in there did something to the photos. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. You sort of just swing the door open.
Wait.
Casey shouted. What? What if he's out there? Who? Brady asked. Craig, my neighbor. Why would he be at the CVS? I don't know. But it's only 3 miles from his house, so he could be here.
Wait, guys. This doesn't make sense. How would the photo guy know we thought the camera took our last photos before we died?
Maribel asked, placing her own photo in the cup holder. Because we were talking about it, I replied. At least Casey and I were. I wanted to row. We were trying to be quiet, but it's possible he heard us. A heavy silence fell over us. Okay, let's go, Maribel said, opening her door. The night was unusually dark. The sliver in the black sky, far above the street lamps of the parking lot. We made our way towards the sliding doors, glowing warm yellow. Brady was probably right. The photo guy certainly had the time. We were at the store for a full hour, waiting for the photos to be developed. He could have easily hopped on some AI tool like Midjourney and typed in things like old man standing on the beach or Christmas family. The photo of a woman, although it would take some photoshopping skills to get our actual faces in the images. But if he had access to the real photos we took, that was possible. Nobody recognized photo guy, right? I whispered right before we stepped inside. No, Brady replied. Maribel and Casey shook heads. I hadn't recognized him either, but he looked like he was only a few years older than us. And possible he knew one of us. Maybe he even had some sort of revenge plot. Maybe his brother had a crush on Casey, or maybe Maribel got picked for the trivia team over his little sister. We didn't know him. Didn't mean he didn't know us. 6 degrees of separation. Much less than that in a small town like ours. We stepped into the CVS. There was an old woman at the cash register. No one at the photo booth? Hey, where'd he go? The photo guy? Brady called out to her somewhat aggressively. He's in the back, I think. She replied, eyeing him warily. We wandered through the aisles. He's hiding. Brady whispered to us. He knows what he... So, where we did, and he's hiding out. We followed him down the aisle, the fluorescent lights blinking above us. The more empty aisles we passed, the more convinced I became of this theory. It messed and refugee deaths and tool, but mostly, well, we assumed that I was actually so funny to see what happened with her, and when that generate such a disturbing image of a woman tied up in a basement, we turned the corner, and there he was, the photo guy restocking in the cold medicine aisle, and then it happened on him.
Hey, that wasn't fucking funny what you did to the photos.
Photo guy whipped around, his eyes widened, and he held up his hands. Whoa, whoa, he said, taking a step back. What are you? Stop, Casey said, stepping in front of Brady. Then she turned. Photo guy, did you do something to the photos? Her tone had an edge to it I'd never heard in it before. Fear and anger slicing through her usual bubbly, chatty tone. And then, to my shock, photo guy nodded. All of us froze. For a second, time seemed to stop. Then, Brady started up again. You're a sicko. That was a horrible thing to do. Photoshopping Casey, making it look like she was tied up in a basement. Wait, photo guy asked, his eyes widening. Oh, don't deny it. Casey spat. Brady's right. What you did was sick. You're a fucking psycho.
No. I did not do that. He shook his head wildly. Look.
So, earlier today I spilled some Coke on the machine, and when your photos came out, they were all warped and weird and stuff. That happens if water gets inside the machine, and I already threw out the negatives, so I couldn't reprint them. And so, that's all. He held up his hands in surrender. And so you didn't edit a photo to show Casey, I said, gesturing to her, tied up in a big. His expression told me the answer.
No. Wait, all the photos were messed up, I asked. Yeah, I think so. We didn't get any photos that were messed up.
Right? I turned to Casey. She shook her head. Photo guy shrugged. I don't know, guys. I'm just telling you what happened. Was there anything wrong with the camera? Like a Raspberry Pi inside it or anything, Maribel asked. A Raspberry Pi? His face scrunched up as he glanced between us like a microchip, a computer. Anything? He shook his head. It looked just like a normal disposable camera to me, although I haven't seen one of those in years.
An awkward silence fell on the five of us. Thanks, sorry for bothering you, Maribel said finally, starting to knock down the aisle. The three
Followed her towards the front of the store. We got back to the car without a word, Brady and Maribel in the front, Casey and I in the back. I stared at the dark parking lot ahead, my heart pounded in my ears. Maribel fidgeted with the photo in the cup holder. Brady dug into his pocket for the keys. Casey kept her back to me, staring out her window. The car rumbled to life underneath us. And then we were going this front, years going. And I asked, my house, Brady replied. My normal care. You and Casey can take the spare room and Maribel can be on the pull-out sofa. I glanced at Casey. She didn't turn around. Fine with me, Maribel replied. Brady started pulling out of the parking space. Wait, Casey said suddenly. The three of us turned to her. We should take the photo of Betty. Then that isn't his last photo alive, and the camera is gone. Brady let out a laugh. You're saying you actually believe this shit? She scrunched her face at him. Come on, let's just do it. Okay. Fine with me, I replied. Casey turned to me, holding her phone up. I stared at the black camera, glinting in the light, staring at me. She raised her hand, her finger shaping over the screen. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Click. The fake shutter sound filled the car, and as she stared at the phone screen, her eyes widened. Wait, what? She whispered. My heart dropped. The camera app just like, hang on. She tapped at the screen. Flick, her eyebrows furrowed. It quit out again. Let me try. Maribel pulled out her phone and pointed it at me. Click. Her smile dropped. She glanced at her phone and then back at me. Mine just did the same thing, she said. It just quit out. As soon as I took the picture, that's because both of you have crappy iPhone 10s or whatever, Brady said. And he was like into his pocket and pulled out his phone. So one of the sleek new Motorola phones that folded up, he lifted it and pointed it at me. The bright white of a flash filled the car. But the darkness, I saw Brady's face. His eyes were wide as he stared at the screen. No, that doesn't even make sense, he muttered to himself, tapping at the screen. What? I asked. He slowly turned the phone around so I could see all the blood drained out of my face. The photo simply showed the empty back seat of the car. Where I should have been sitting, it was just empty. What does that mean? I'm like a ghost? I said with a forced laugh, but inside, my heart was pounding like a jackrabbit's, thrumming inside my ears. Let's get out of here. Brady threw the car in reverse. He backed the space and sped towards the exit. We flew down the main road through town, passing little shops lined up, the tea place, the bagel shop, In the darkness, I felt a hand curl around mine. Eyes away from the window and found Casey staring at me. Her hand was tight around mine, ice cold. Guilt stabbed through me. I slowly pulled my hand away. What? I couldn't break up with her here in the car. Right now. Could I? I shoved my hands in my pockets. Sorry, my hands are really cold. I'll warm them up. Man, my hands are cold too. And colder than mine, actually. So, Maribel turned around. What's up? Casey glared at me. Then she turned to Maribel. Nothing, she muttered. And she crossed her arms and stared at the window, not even glancing in my direction for the entire rest of the drive. And so I squinted in the sudden brightness. Casey was motionless like a statue, still sulking, and later downlocks the car. And then that was a way man was putting it. Staring out the window, Maribel's voice broke the silence. Oh my God. She'd grabbed her photo out of the cup holder and was holding it close to her face. It fluttered and shook in her hands. My heart plummeted. Without a word, she turned it around for all of us to see. It took me a minute to notice the change. Because the photo looked the same. An ancient old lady sitting in front of a Christmas, this tree surrounded by family. But now, the woman who had been holding the baby, she was different. In the previous photo, she'd been holding a little girl in an elaborate infant Christmas dress. Now she was holding a little boy dressed in a teeny little suit. It changed, she whispered. Mine changed too, Brady said, but not by much. It's just me a little older. Casey scrambled for her photo, and I heard her sigh of relief almost instantly. She held it out to me, shoving it in my face before I could even look at mine. We did. And relief became dismaying. I wasn't early making Harry fight. I wouldn't relieve people to make it was lift, and not early named her fellow. She was flooded me, but that relief evaporated as soon as I looked at my photo again. It wasn't the same photo of me posing against the tree. It was a different photo, a wedding photo. I was dressed in a tux, beaming with joy, grinning ear to ear, hair slicked back, and bow tie crisp black against my neck. Hand in hand with a beautiful bride, a bride I recognized. It was Maribel, and I tried to hide it, but it was... They're too late. Casey's eyes widened. Brady and Maribel leaned into the back seat, curious. Maribel's mouth fell open. Brady stared in shock. The photo swam before me as I felt weak, as darkness crept. The edges of my vision